Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to Telecast episode 28, baby. 28, baby. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say other than that for the intro. How'd you guys like the sacrificial roly-poly slash memorial intro, guys? Is that cool or what? I apologize for any loud fan adjacent noises. Well, first of all, I have my windows open, so you're going to hear some motorcycles. People in this town love to drive their motorcycles as loud as possible, especially when I'm trying to go to sleep. Weirdly, I am somebody who, this is not the weird part, this is the context for why the weird thing is weird. I'm somebody who can fall asleep very easily. I think I've said this before. I probably have. I say a lot of things many times. And recently I haven't really been able to go to sleep, like the past week or so. Like, I don't know. I thought it was stress related, and it like kind of was, but it's there's two major factors that contribute to this right now, I think. The first one is the fact that there are just loud cars and things. I have my windows open, so like, it'll be, I don't know, it'll be like midnight or 12:15 or something, and like, I know that's early for some people. It used to be kind of early for me, but I've been getting to sleep earlier. And people will rev their cars so obnoxiously loud. Like, it is definitely for attention, like, to be the guy who does that. Listen, I love cars. I love car culture. I'm definitely not an expert on car culture, but I understand it. I love when cars are loud. I saw a demonstration of the 2025 Mustangs right when they were first coming out. There were three of them, and they were revving, and it was like, it was awesome. But also, that was at a car show. It was Cars and Coffee in Bethlehem for you Eastern Pennsylvanians out there. And it was really cool. But the difference is that this was 12 hours prior, in broad daylight, in a controlled environment. Again, like, listen, man, I'm not here to be like the fun police or anything, but it's past midnight. At least can you do it before midnight? Like, whatever. Sue me if you disagree. I really don't care. Right now, there's one major thing that I do want to talk about. There's a bunch of stuff, man. I've been watching shows, TVs, movies, and etc., etc. But first up, we're going to talk about, is this the right one? We're going to find out. Yes, it is. Project Hail Mary. I went and saw it. I did. I went and saw a movie by myself for the first time in my entire life. I'm not one to watch movies, like, in my house on my own. Sometimes, yeah, depending on what it is. Like, if it's something that, like, I'm going to meet up with and talk to friends about, like, I have friends back home, I have friends here, and if it's something that we're all going to watch, then, like, hell yeah, I'll watch it. But if it's just, like, I want to watch this movie, or I want to rewatch this movie, generally I'll wait until I have friends or people that I can introduce the movie to, or make more of a thing out of it than just me, watching it on my own and then having nothing to do with it. I guess now I do have the podcast, which is kind of encouraging me to do more things, so then I can at least just talk about it. Blah, blah, bloobity, blah, blah. I am going to check the chat because last time BBC Vlogs was in here chatting it up, and yeah, I unfortunately kind of dropped the ball on that and didn't see. So, sorry, bro. But yeah, Project Hail Mary was friggin' awesome. I'm a big fan of these space movies. If you ask me to rank them, I honestly, I'm not going to rank them because I want to do like a solo video talking about like space movies at some point. It's going to happen eventually. It's not one of those things that that never happens. But 2001: A Space Odyssey, obviously, like the legendary, not necessarily the gold standard because it's a little out there, but it's the foundation that every space movie is kind of based off of these days. You got Gravity with Sandra Bullock. I'm single, so I can say she's hot. Matt Damon, him, I don't know. I'm not into dudes, so it's harder for me to gauge. I think he's a good-looking guy. Back in like Good Will Hunting days, I could see. I don't know why this turned into an objectify celebrities conversation, but we're going to move back into the science fiction side of things. So The Martian is the closest approximation to this movie that I guess we have because it was written by the same guy, Andy Weir. The book was written by the same dude. Adapted, I think it might have even been the same producer or director or something, but a lot of similar hands involved. The thing about this movie that makes it so different from Gravity and Interstellar and The Martian, and what are some other ones that we got? Those are like the big three, right? First of all, Interstellar is like, to me, that's hard to beat. The only real flaws with that movie were some like corny instances or dialogue. I am, of course, not referring to the stuff with Matthew McConaughey's family. That was just like devastating to watch his son grow up and hate him. He literally goes down to a water planet for like 20 minutes, comes back up. All of a sudden, his son has had 4 kids, a divorce. His pension is at 0 because the U.S. stock freaking market crashed again, and then he hates his dad. Yeah. Kind of devastating, and relatable, because stock market. Should I talk about the stock market this episode? I don't know. I'll add it to the list. There's a lot of stuff on here that I probably won't end up talking about. I have clavicular and peptides are a government psyop on my podcast list for today. So we'll see. We'll see how far we get in this topic list. What am I putting in here? I don't even remember what I was. Oh yeah. Finance and stock market. I actually am taking a finance class right now, so I'm learning, guys. I'm investing. But yeah, my main criticisms for Project Hail Mary, it was, well, okay. We have to start out by identifying how this movie is different from the other movies. And first of all, it's definitely not as serious. A lot of people praise the science for being very accurate, which, like, hey, dude, it's science fiction. It better be accurate. But it was definitely, like, it dragged a little bit. I gotta say, like, they said the original cut of this movie was like 4.5 hours or 4 hours or something. I could even see places they could have reduced the runtime on this. There are so many instances where Ryan Gosling is going back and forth from his ship to planet to another ship. He's going to Rocky's ship. He's going here. And it's a lot of back and forth and work on a thing and back and forth and work on a thing. And you know, you could have maybe montaged that out, reduced it down a little bit. But again, as a solo person in the movie theater, and when I mean I saw it alone, I was literally the only person in the theater. I was sitting front and center, dude. I snuck in a few packs of beef jerky and a freaking PewDiePie G Fuel. I was living, bro. But yeah, nobody else was in the theater. I went on my phone like a few times, you know, just because whatever. But for the most part, I was very engaged. I would be open to watching a director's cut of this in the future with other people. I don't know if I could do it by myself, if I could justify the time investment. But yeah, definitely more wholesome than serious. And when I say wholesome, I mean it didn't like hold its punches. You know, there's definitely moments where you're not sure if a character's gonna live or die or whatever. Spoiler alert, minor spoiler alert. Things do turn out relatively well for all the characters involved, which is awesome. I like how they just wrap things up. You know, like it's cool when a movie ends on a cliffhanger or on an open-ended question, but it's more like, it feels like a big hug when they just wrap it all up, you know? So props to the writers, Andy Weir, writer of Project Hail Mary book, and the guys who brought this thing to fruition. From what I've heard, they've done a fantastic job with the adaptation. And the fact that there were no green screen or special effects really was another big draw for me. You know, I'm like big into the creativity thing. You know, yeah, I'll glaze AI where it's warranted, but for the most part, like, first of all, people are sick of AI. People like don't care. They see something that's AI generated, corporate, blah blah blah. You know, last week we talked about the algo brain. I'm pretty sure we did, where, you know, things are made for metrics and things are made for, you know, logically this should work, but you're completely neglecting the human element. You know, like if this was a controlled environment, which you can argue the reality that you live in, if you live in the United States, is, you know, somewhat controlled. But I'm digressing a little bit. My point is that the creativity in this movie was off the charts. The way that they portrayed the astrophage, you never really saw it. You only really saw it in like goo that was used to collect it out of the air, or you know, little particles and stuff. It was cool, and it made for some really stunning like visual moments. You know, one thing I like about, you know, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for example. For those who don't know, popular anime, kind of niche appeal-ish. It's getting more mainstream appeal because it's getting more popular and recognized for how good it is. But they do these cutaways to, not cutaways, but they do these cut-ins where there's super bright neon colors and things like that. And there were moments like that in this where, he's on this, like this right here that I'm pointing at. When you have these, you have these moments where you pull the subject out. This is definitely a character-driven movie. Definitely character-driven. It's giving me Catholic prayers because I typed in Hail Mary. Project Hail Mary. Where's the one shot? We got to find the one shot where he's standing over the green planet. Let me see. Green planet. Is this it? Yes. This right here was awesome. Imagine seeing this in movie theaters, guys. Well, I don't have to imagine because I did see it. Booyah. I don't know. $8 for 2.5, 3 hours of my time. Good excuse to chow down on some snacks and some freaking energy drinks that's going to make my heart explode. Overall, Project Hail Mary, I gave it a 4-star on Letterboxd. I love space movies, so I'm certainly biased. Let me know what you guys think. Next up, we could talk about Invincible, or we could talk about Bully. I'm going to go ahead, because I've only seen a little bit of the newest season of Invincible, we're going to go there first. So, Invincible, Season 4. Is it Season 4 already? Yes, it is. I believe it is. I don't know what if this is from the current season or not, so don't yell at me for spoilers. But I did watch Invincible Season 4, Episodes 1 and 2. I was supposed to watch Episodes 1, 2, and 3 on my own, and then 4 with my friends, but I didn't do that, and I forgot. And I apologize profusely, but I did see Episodes 1 and 2. So we're good. And I'm going to watch 3 tonight, and we're going to watch 4 and 5. All of us are going to watch it sometime this week, hopefully. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. Definitely, like, I can't get over this one thing that is very big for me. I don't like sex in movies and TV shows where it's not completely necessary, Obviously, if two people are in love or if it's a blah, 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 whatever. Justify it in the writing however you want. But when it is just there for visual or, like, edge appeal, I'm not, like, totally into that. Invincible does that, like, it's definitely supposed to be, like a comedic thing where it's like, oh, ha ha ha, I can hear them, having sex in the room and smashing around, and Nolan is covering his ears, and it's funny, and then he finds out that there's actually another bedroom that he could, that he could have slept in, and blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, comedic stuff warranted, potentially a little excessive, but I get it, edgy stuff, But then again, they wouldn't let Mark smoke a cigar. So if you're trying to make him be, like, if you're trying to make this friendly for kids, like, well, whatever. Whatever, man. Not going to judge the way you write your show. Also, I don't know how accurate any of this is to the comics. It just seems like, I feel like I'm being lectured on, like, safe sex, like, sometimes. I don't know. Like, anybody else get that with this show? Like, I feel like every once in a while it's like, it's completely normal for people at your age to explore your sexual boundaries and blah, blah, blah. It's like, all right, man, like, just give me more slappy, punchy, cool powers and people and stuff. That's really my only issue. I could harp on that all day, but there are plenty of amazing things that I love that have the same issue. Invincible is definitely one of those amazing things that I love. Voice acting is superb. Action is really good. Animation is really, really good. I don't think there was ever a moment in this show that, like, I think the animation could have been dialed up. Maybe they held a little still on some things, but that's just the nature of adapting a comic book. So, yeah, let me know where you guys are at with Invincible. I'm excited to watch the rest of it. I don't know. I kind of wish that I agreed to watch Episode 4 tonight as well, because I don't want to just watch Episode 3. But Nolan and Alan. Alan's a really funny character. I'm very glad that he's sticking around and that, whatever. Nolan, is he truthfully a good guy or is he actually evil? I don't know. We will find out. Yeah, that's all I really got to say. Now let's switch over to Bully by the GOAT, Kanye West. Listen, guys, Kanye West, regardless of your opinions on his opinions, he is such a fascinating person. The biopic in 20 years, 40 years about him is going to be a must-watch because he is so influential. He is so, he is truthfully, honestly, the man and the art are both equally pungent. Not pungent. What's the word for it? Equally there's so much to it. It's hard to even put it into words. But like, man, this guy knows how to make some music. Bully, I listened to it once all the way through, and then a few of the singles a few times. So far, I don't know, man. I think he did a good job. I did think that, like, you know, people were like, oh, it's like all his old styles mixed together. I did kind of feel that. But also, like, it was new and fresh enough that it didn't feel like it was lazy. I don't know. I like it. And you know what? I don't like every single Kanye West song out there, so it doesn't mean that I need to, like, love his albums. And you know what? I make lots of YouTube videos, and not every single one is a hit. Not every single one I'm totally over the moon proud of. And that's just life, man. So I'm happy that he's still making music. I'm happy that he's sorting his life out and getting his freaking mind back on track, I guess. But dang, man, what a cultural sensation, man. What an influential guy. I don't know, dude. I know so many of his songs, not so many, but I know like a good deal of his songs all the way through. Crazy lyricist. That's another thing too. I'm a huge critic of lyrics when it comes to movies, or not movies. When it comes to music, because I am a big critic of like dialogue and writing when it comes to movies and other things. His lyrics are always really good and they're funny, and maybe it's just because, like, you know, it's him. You know, it's not like he's trying to make a hit or make some Phineas and Ferb, you know, pop song. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Iconic Kanye in the MAGA hat, crazy stuff, man. This guy is, I could do a whole freaking podcast on just him. I could do multiple podcasts. I mean, a whole podcast meaning like a whole series. I don't know, guys. Did you listen to Bully? Did you like it? Did you not? I don't know. Let me know. Next one that I want to do is PewDiePie. What? Like, if I just look him up. So I did mention that I drank a PewDiePie G Fuel, which is cool. Yo, he's got the freaking JoJo font on him. Check him out. He also did like a freaking JJBA like flavor of like G Fuel or something. I don't really know. But yeah, PewDiePie. What was I gonna say about him? I know what I was gonna say about him. That I've been watching his videos recently. His channel. Actually, you know what? Can we look up his channel on YouTube? No. Can I? Okay. Well, it's pulling up. .com/PewDiePie. Is it gonna bring me there? It does. His videos. I've been watching his vlogs, and I'm very much enjoying them. I'm enjoying his, like, you know, his doing different hobbies and learning different skills, because that's something that I do, you know. Like, I don't know, it's weird for me to like say that out loud, because, like, you know, it's like a thing that's been like kind of in my head about myself for a long time, but like I always just pick things to do and learn how to do them and get good at them and then have fun with it. And, you know, sometimes it goes places, sometimes it doesn't. Like, I learned how to 3D model like 2 years ago, and I used it for some projects, and ever since the middle mouse button on my mouse broke, I haven't really done much 3D modeling. If you know Blender, you know that the middle mouse button is crucial. Well, why don't you just bind it to a different thing? I'm not doing that, because then I'm just not doing that. PewDiePie is doing similar stuff. He's learning. I saw this. He didn't, like, you know, he's learned how to draw and do art before. This was just like a little collab he did with some of the people who have animated some recent animes and stuff. But yeah, him vlogs with his wife and his kid, you know, his tech stuff, learning how to code, learning how to make, you know, self-host stuff and use AI models and, you know, train them himself for specific tasks, you know, building PC type of stuff, all very interesting. And just his vlogs, I don't know. I really like him and respect him. He's like the godfather of YouTube, you know? Like, Mr. Beast is like, you know, the king of YouTube. Maybe not even these days. I haven't really been keeping up with him. But PewDiePie is definitely like the godfather of YouTube, like big time. Just so much cred, you know, so many subscribers, and people go, why? Like, why him? And it's just him. Like, he's totally a personality-driven brand. His branding isn't even that crazy. It's literally just like some lines in Illustrator, and then he just blurred them around. But I gotta respect it, man. I don't know. I got a lot of respect for this guy. I do enjoy. I've been watching his vlogs. Cool guy. So we've gotten through some of these. Another thing that I want to talk about is, while we're kind of talking about anime, I do want to throw my 2 cents in about the Steel Ball Run release schedule. So right now, people are going freaking crazy because Steel Ball Run is not having a weekly release. You can already see, like, I don't even know, like some of these thumbnails, man, from some of these videos, people are freaking out. I can't even see any now. If you go on YouTube and look up JoJo, chances are you're going to see some stuff about this. So the way that anime was released, the traditional way is it's weekly, which means every week it comes out with a new episode. To me, personally, I never jived with that because what if I'm traveling this week? What if I'm gone this week? What if I'm here this week? And that's a commitment every week. Like, my week is already booked. I have stuff planned for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, on Saturday night. And I never get around to watching things the day they come out anyway. Like Invincible, I'm watching 2 episodes here. I'm watching this, there, The weekly thing honestly never really worked for me. And, it's good to have like the consistent marketing push the whole time. But, I mean, with so many YouTubers making videos on this series, like, I don't even think it needs the weekly release in order to keep relevance, The simple fact that they dropped a new episode boosted my channel like crazy. I'm getting lots and lots of views. I'm hitting like, number 4, number 3 best days ever in terms of earnings and views. But people are really upset that the stages of the race, there's like 8 or 9 stages total in the Steel Ball Run race, which is what Steel Ball Run's about. They are releasing each stage as its own thing. Presumably, right now. They did stage 1 as its own thing and stage 2. People are going crazy. Like, they're getting so crazy about this. To me, listen, man, I wasn't going to watch it weekly anyway. I was probably going to watch, 2 episodes here, 2 episodes here. 'Cause I don't feel like waiting. Like, I'm a very all or nothing type of person, which is kind of like a fatal flaw of mine, right? I don't know. Like, if it came out weekly, I would probably just wait to watch like 4 episodes at a time, honestly. Maybe not with Steel Ball Run because it is like one of my favorites, but if the whole argument is to attract new people, then I think the news cycle and the Netflix advertising and the blah 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 is enough to keep the impressions going. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. One more thing that I do want to talk about is okay, this is something I was getting hate for online. So let's look up Star Wars sequels. Oh, the Star Wars sequels are so bad. Shut up. You're overhating them. And this is actually, you know what? This is going to be the final topic of the day because this is really kind of where a lot of different things on this list converge. Things like that we just talked about, things that we're going to be talking about. So first of all, I do want to say that somebody made a post on Instagram and said something about the sequel movies, and I left a very not controversial take or not necessarily controversial, but I left a very reasonable take. I said the Star Wars sequel movies are overhated. They served as a good foundation for the post original trilogy universe. You got these other shows fleshing out the universe and stuff like that. Mandalorian, first 2 seasons were good. Boba Fett, kind of lackluster, but again, lore, world building, story building, it leaves the door open for a lot of awesome stuff, especially if we are going to be getting a Ryan Gosling Star Wars solo movie. So, not solo as in Han Solo, but Ryan Gosling's going to star in a Star Wars movie. Dude is freaking on fire right now, by the way. He's starring in so many big hits. He's the big dude right now. Coming off of Barbie, then Project Hail Mary, then Star Wars, he's solidifying himself as one of the modern greats. But yeah, I left a comment saying, I said something to the effect of the sequel movies are not that bad. They're overhated. Really, people just don't like Rey, and they don't like the look of it. The fact that, the prequel movies had, the lightsaber fights were too quick and stuff, so then they slowed them all down. I guess this is something that they did. This could also be a hypothetical thing. Who knows? But what isn't hypothetical is that Rey is kind of a flat character. To me, she is the shoehorn that gets all the other characters in the movie. Finn and Poe and Who else do we got? Kylo Ren's good. Well, I have the whole screen up here. Luke Skywalker, people were like, does not like him at all. Luke Skywalker, blah, 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 blah. But if you listen to him in the original trilogy, he's got whiny moments. He's not like this flawless character. And even then, you look at characters like Anakin, who are supposed to be the chosen one, the flawless person, and he's a little more plastic than you might think. I don't know. But yeah, I said a very reasonable thing that the sequel movies were not that bad. People freaked out on me. They were like saying all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, you're stupid, you're dumb, blah, 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 blah. Not really a single, like, intelligent argument against me. And that's not saying that if you think the sequel movies are bad, you're not intelligent. It's just that if you take an absolutist take, you're not intelligent. If you say that something is definitely one way or the other, again, within reason, because that in itself is an absolute statement. You gotta leave room for nuance and honesty, I can sit here and say I don't like XYZ in movies because that's just what resonates with me. But if I say this is definitively terrible and this is blah, 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 without even trying to find the good in it, I'm not doing my due diligence as a film connoisseur or whatever, Like, if you want to be serious about watching movies or listening to music or consuming art on the whole, you got to be more fair to everything. You got to understand the context, the artist, the time and place, the culture, the audience, the intended audience. There's a lot of things to consider. To me, honestly, I think the sequel movies just played it a little too safe. And, I mean, that's okay. They made a crap ton of money. But what they did more importantly, in my opinion, is create a better foundation. And this Mandalorian movie we're gonna see if it really, can save Star Wars. Wow, okay. There's also another thing I want to do. Listen, guys, I do not like attacking or going after other creators, but I do have to make a very friendly criticism towards Moist Critical, okay? I think that Hunger Games, height, dispatch, Twitch, meme, short hair. Okay. Moist Critical. Charlie something. Listen, guys. I like Moist Critical. Sometimes I listen to his takes on different things. But a lot of times, for a while I was watching him consistently. And then I stopped because I get halfway through a video and he's already made his point. He's already broke the news. He's already given a lot of the context as to what he's discussing. And on top of that, not a lot of times. That's too general of a statement. Some of these videos, he just doesn't give the full context, or he gives too opinionated of an answer for my personal liking. I'm more of like a hard facts kind of person, and a fair person, I see him get on there and crap on this or harp on this, and I know he has specific things that he goes after, like Pokemon cards, for example. Like, he covers a lot of Pokemon card stuff. People beating each other up over that, whatever. Again, I'm not criticizing his format or whatever, because whatever resonates with his audience, whatever he feels like making, if it works, it works. But he just is a little too absolute, and I think that he also commands a large audience of people. Not commands, because again, I don't think that people get in this mindset where there's a politician or a celebrity or somebody, and it's like, oh, they're directing their whole audience, and anything they say or do is going to move their audience. It's like, no, people are much more autonomous than that. However, I think he's kind of depriving a lot of people of context when he just gives more of an opinionated answer on things. And I could say the same thing about myself, but it's just something that I've noticed very consistently with things that he was posting, let's say, a couple months ago to half a year, 8 months ago, right? I just kind of stopped listening too much because, I want to hear the facts. Once I'm done, I'm done. I'm out. Whatever. And, I don't know. Especially with, teenagers and stuff who are, people... We'll say 15 to... I think that's a YouTube metric, is, 15 to 18, 18 to 22 or so. 18 to 24, maybe. That group of people, which I'm in... a lot of people, they parrot things, or they try to get the quick understanding of things, and it's like, I don't know. If I were in that position, I would be trying to give more context to things, and he does do that. He's it's just an interesting thing that he is kind of like a big face and voice of YouTube right now, And, you know, if I could make a wish, I would say, Charlie, buddy, can you maybe, like, add a little more context to things? But then that makes his video cycle slow down. He can't post as frequently, can't cover things as quickly. So, you know, it's one of those things where you flip one switch and 4 other ones come up. I don't know, guys. Overall, I gotta respect the guy. But yeah, it's just something where, you know, I think, again, if you're consuming art, you should take a more, like, fair approach to things, you know? Yo, BBC Vlogs in the chat. What up, bro? What else do we got? I don't know. I think that's probably about it. I mean, I talked about the algo brain a little bit, and how, you know, artistic integrity, and integrity as the person consuming the art. Talked about all the things we've been watching recently. Unfortunately, did not get to the clavicular and peptide psyop conversation. Did not talk about finance and stock today. Maybe we'll save that for next week, because I am just getting into this class now. And then on top of that, I did want to talk a little bit about how, you know, my whole perspective on the whole Iran situation is changing. You know, obviously there's the Epstein aspect, but a lot of it seems to be strategic leverage over the oil trade in the Middle East, which funnels directly up into China and Russia. We might look at that next time. If that's a little too boring, maybe we'll make it fun with some costumes and some dancing. Also, Five Nights at Epstein's is apparently a Five Nights at Freddy's clone that kids are playing. That's about all I got for you guys. Am I getting... No, I'm not getting notifications about the podcast. Yeah, I don't know, guys. That's really all we got. This was a really, really solid podcast. You know, I worry that I might have rambled a little bit towards the end there, but, I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I raised my chair up, so now we're more, like, even with the camera. I'm not, like, slouching down. I don't know. Yeah, solid podcast, guys. Last week was a little rough, IMO. This week seems to be a little bit better. So, as always, comment what you want me to cover. Keep an eye on the main channel. I am working on a video there. And yeah, that's really all I got. Check out my clips. Check out other episodes if you haven't seen. I talk about anything and everything that I get suggested or that I want to talk about or whatever. If you completely disagree with my opinions, please tell me why I'm wrong in the comments below. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Telecast, baby, out. See you guys next week.
If you are interested in more Telecast episodes and long-form video essays, check out the videos right here. And subscribe for more. Yay!